Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Superpower Review, the show that brings you news and reviews on super cool comic book things. I'm your host, Ken Vidini, and we got another fantastic episode for you today. Today's episode is all about the Defenders. That's what we're going to be talking about today. I would like to thank my guest and welcome my guest, Mike Kincaid. How's it going, buddy?
Oh, I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for contacting the show and wanting to be on the show, so thank you so much.
Thanks for having me on.
Where are we Skyping from today?
Rochester, Minnesota.
Ah, Minnesota. That's a new one for the show. So, brought you on to talk about the Defenders. What did you think of the Defenders, my friend?
Well, for starters, I'm really excited kind of what they're doing with Netflix, kind of taking advantage of these different properties like Iron Fist and Luke Cage and things, because it allows for some of these characters that you wouldn't normally get on the big screen to be on the small screen. By far, though, this is probably my favorite series, other than maybe Daredevil was really, really good. But for 8 episodes, it just wasn't long enough. I really wanted more.
I've been
watched it about twice now.
You watched it twice? Oh, I only got to see it once, all the way around. But I will be watching it twice because, luckily, my wife got into it. Ooh.
Oh.
Yeah, my wife got into it, and she dogs on me, saying like, "Look what you did to me, getting into comic book stuff." And I'm like, yes, enjoy it. I really liked it. Yes, right, exactly. Like my little evil plan. Like he. Yes, excellent. I really enjoyed it too. So let's get into the ratings here. Rotten Tomatoes gives it a 74% fresh tomatoes. The average audience score was 82% liked it, and IMDb gives it a 8.1 out of 10. Would you agree with this, Mike?
Yeah, I really would. I wouldn't say that it's perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I think around 8 out of 10 is pretty fair. I think that for as much as people like to rag on, like Iron Fist, for instance, Danny Rand's character, which, that series aside, I feel like the combination of these characters and actors on screen is what gives this particular show a good mix of everything, that you get to enjoy a little bit of each world kind of all put together. And I think that combination of humor, drama, along with the story itself, I think that warrants an 8 out of 10.
I would have to agree too. I really feel like these ratings are very fair. Personally, when it comes to this series, Mike, I really didn't have a lot to complain about. I don't have anything to complain about really in this series. I really enjoyed it. It was a really good watch. I really love the fight scenes in this. Netflix series does a fantastic job choreographing these fight scenes. I don't know who the choreographer is for these fight scenes, but whoever is in charge of it does a absolute fantastic job. There are some times I did notice, though, especially if you watch the very last episode where, they're underground into the building and they have that huge battle down there. My only thing I really have to say is that there were some times during those fight scenes where you saw the actors just standing for like half of a second waiting for the attack to happen or let the actor do what they want to do. That's like my really only thing, but other than that, the story was really good, the acting was really good, and it was so nice to see these actors come together to form the Defenders.
I agree with you, and I think going back to just the actors themselves, I think each show that individually came before this one, you can pick out a lot of the ups and downs, and whatever character was at the center of it really drove the show. And so now to have them together, it was nice to see them get a pretty equal share of the screen time.
Yeah.
I was kind of worried that this was going to turn into, and it didn't, but worried it was going to turn into this Iron Fist-centric plot that just happened to be with the Defenders.
I was a little scared of that too. I was.
Yeah, it just, because there's so much of it. They talk about Kunlun so much and all this other. So, but back to what you were saying about the fight scenes, I agree. I've really enjoyed the fight scenes and the choreography, but also, same to your point, you could tell when it's painfully choreographed.
Yeah.
And I'm no expert at it, but I grew up on like Jackie Chan movies. First Strike, Rumble in the Bronx, Police Story. So seeing that and then seeing this, it's hard for me not to look at that and go, oh, that was okay, but,
We'll let it slide.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
There were some times where it kind of looked Power Ranger kind of level.
Right.
It almost got there for a little bit, almost.
God, that's such a good analogy. I didn't even think about that, but that's totally what it is. And I guess I'm just hoping that moving forward, that these characters, when they do put them in the series forward, really the only person I really give a pass to fighting-wise would be Daredevil. Always looks smooth when he fights,
yeah,
so I'm not really worried about that. But that series also has a lot of camera cuts during the action, which tend to look at a little more fast-paced. And then Luke Cage, he's just a brawler. He doesn't need to look graceful when he fights. He just needs to hit the mess out of stuff.
Right. He's just a tank.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. In a great way. It just that I think moving forward, I really hope that they take the Iron Fist character, the Danny Rand character, and they just take him someplace, maybe where you do karate, or maybe where somebody else does something. Like take him to top team Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and just lock him in there for a while. Because I think he really needs to, learn how to fight in a way that's more realistic. Because again, back to your analogy, looking very Power Rangers, this is supposed to be, how many times did I say it? The immortal Iron Fist. He's a human weapon.
How many times did he really say that? If every time he says that, if you haven't watched the Defenders yet, first off, don't be watching this review. But if you are going to go watch the Defenders after this, we're going to play a real quick game. Every time he says that line, "I am the immortal Iron Fist," take a shot.
Yes.
You'll be wasted.
Remember much later, but yes. Oh, absolutely. You're going to just gone. Oh man. This series in particular, just with the fighting again, which I really focused on quite a bit. I geeked out quite a bit during the first hallway fight scene when I realized it was going to happen. Happened kind of late in the episode. I was afraid they were going to cut it off and then make it the beginning of the next one.
Yeah.
But it was just really great seeing that. But I think the highlight of the scene was watching them, and I wish there was more of it at the time, just watching them go back and forth in the hallway.
Yeah.
I really wish that was a bit more elongated. I mean, hallways can only be so long, but what we got was great. And then, of course, all the storytelling that happens around Daredevil and Elektra during their fight during that time was also great.
Well, all those fight scenes in the series are really good. Like we said, there were some times where, you could pick up the choreography, like, okay, that actor's waiting for that attack, whatever.
I see that, yeah.
Yeah. So when you were talking about the hallway scene, you're talking about when they go into the building, right? And
Midland.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, that was an awesome fight scene. And, I don't know what it is about Netflix series, having fights in hallways. They really like hallways, but it is epic.
It is pretty epic, and I think that really there have been other movies too, like that do pretty decent hallway fight scenes. Like there's a French movie called I think it's called B-13.
Yeah. That
has a really cool fight scene, and then of course Old Boy, not the newer American one, the older one before that, has a really cool hallway fight scene. And for whatever reason, they just have this formula down. So I feel like they want to make it something that is unique to them.
Yeah.
But now I think build on it more and more.
Right.
And really one of my favorite ones, I think almost better than Defenders one, was probably in Daredevil when he goes in that little underground building. It's dark, but the fight looks so real.
Yeah.
And they use the doors and the scenery and the sound, everything's so great. It was just so well done. If they stop doing it, I think it's going to really take something away from this series and the other shows.
I want to touch a bit on Elektra's story a little bit.
Let's do it.
Yeah, because you know what? I actually really liked that twist. And I really thought she was a goner. Like, I really thought that she was going to be that weapon that they were expecting, the Black Sky. So, I really liked what they did with that character. Because, she's so dark. She's even darker than than she was before. We know that Elektra is the anti-hero, and she wants to, Matt Murdock, Daredevil, to be the same way. But man, I really liked this character, and I really liked what they were doing. One of my favorite things too was, when she was coming back to the headquarters, and you see all the weapons, and she always looks at the Psy, the pair of Psy, and so it makes you wonder, like, no, she's still there, you know what I mean? And especially when she comes back into Matt's apartment, I really liked that scene too.
Yeah, I did too. And you make a great point. That was one of my Easter eggs I had written down about was the size, because I feel like that's a character that just moving forward, I'm excited to see her continue on,
Yeah.
and probably in Daredevil then, I guess, because now with her being sort of on that anti-hero border, and then she, as you mentioned, went through that whole process. I'm hoping now she goes back and forth, because in the comics she was, independent in the Hand, but she also was with Chast,
Yes.
which that Styx guys, and so Stick. Sorry, Stick.
Womp womp, poor Stick. I'm so sad about Stick. Stick is that bad guy that you love to hate.
Oh yeah, he's it's like you're cool, but you're a dick. I don't tell you. But the thing, and again with Stick, real quick, and we can come back. We'll go back to Elektra in a second. But why did he chop off his whole hand to get out of those handcuffs?
I don't know.
I
guess because they already knew they were going to kill him off, but I thought the same way, because I hope this is not going to be like a Walking Dead accident they did in the comics. Right. You know what I mean? What they did with Rick.
God, no, I was like, well, you could have broken your thumb, or if you wanted to cut something off, just cut off enough, whatever. Anyway. But no, Elektra is, I think, going to be a really exciting character moving forward, and I think it'd be very adventurous of Netflix. But I mean, I wouldn't mind Netflix moving in the direction of kind of maybe, I don't know about miniseries, but I wouldn't mind watching a few Elektra centered episodes of her own.
Marvel,
series.
You heard the guy. Get on it. Elektra miniseries for Netflix. You heard my guess. Get on it, and I totally agree with you. I wouldn't mind either, especially if Daredevil was in it for maybe 1 or 2 episodes.
Exactly, because I think you're giving that character a chance to now expand. Because the one thing that these shows do is, and I'm not sure if you'd agree with me, but there is a definite limit to the amount of expansion you can do with any given character. And I think when it comes to character development and just bringing in more of that Marvel universe, you need more time, but you're never going to see a 20-episode run of Daredevil. You're not going to see anything that long. So I think having those little series like that, especially for her, would be super entertaining.
I totally agree with you. I would love to, I can't wait for Punisher to come out.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, bring it. And I can't wait. I don't know if there's news about it yet, but it's so popular. I'm sure it's going to happen. I'm sure a season 3 of Daredevil is going to happen eventually. Mm-hmm. I know they're already in production for Jessica Jones season 2, which I'm really excited about. Not a lot of people liked the first season of Jessica Jones, and I actually really liked it. I thought it was very different.
Yeah.
But I really liked it, and I can't wait. And I'm sure they're going to do a Defenders 2 because it was successful. It was really good. So let's do this for a second. I had a list. I don't know if you have a list, but if you can think of it at the top of your head, I have a list of my favorite parts of the whole Defenders. And
let's do it.
And I'm going to kind of go in order here.
Okay.
Iron Fist punching Luke Cage square in the face.
Oh, that was nice.
That was a nice moment. Even my wife was like, "Ah!" And I was like, "Look, who is this? What did you do to my wife?" As you said before, the Defenders fighting the guys in the gray suits. That was a great scene. I loved when Luke Cage, uses his body as a shield to have the bullets ricochet off of him. The Royal Dragon fight scene was a really good one. And you know what? The other thing that, before I continue on, I really have to say that they did a really good job breaking off the episodes, because there were times in the episodes that you could be like, oh, well, they're good. This is a good spot to stop. We know they're good. They just got out of a really bad situation. So I felt like throughout the episodes it was okay, we got information, whoa, this is crazy, and then okay, back to more story, and whoa, this is crazy again.
Yeah.
Another great scene, I love the fight scenes. That showdown between Iron Fist and Daredevil was great.
Yeah, it was.
Loved that part. That was a good part. And obviously the last Defenders fight scene when they're underneath the ground. Do you have any scenes that were like, yes?
Oh gosh, I guess for me, you mentioned a lot of the fight scenes, and if I had to like make a definitive list, that would probably be the first 3-4 things on there. So those aside, just to add to it, I guess the scene in the Chinese restaurant.
Yep.
They're kind of riffing back and forth with each other because, again, I think that's that kind of element of the story, the humor. And really, you'd mentioned Jessica Jones in season 2. I'm also excited for the next season.
See?
Because I think a lot of the humor, the good humor, came out of Jessica Jones.
And that's what my wife said, too. My wife said the same exact thing.
Right, and because I think that she just is so no-nonsense. And I was really happy that they didn't really do much to change her character in that regard. Because I think it's such a strength for her, just because she's so willing to call people out on their crap. And even in little moments, back to the list of things would be probably just the little interaction she has with the different people. So when she's in the building in Midland with Daredevil, and she's like, "You look ridiculous." It's like, "Your scarf."
Yeah, that was good.
And towards the end of the series, when she comes up and she's like, "Hey, come on, Ironclad." He goes, "I'm Iron Fist." She goes, "I know."
Yeah.
So I love how she can just stick it to people like that because it's funny. It's little breaks in this what would I think be a really overdramatic thing. So she did all those moments for humor added to that. That definitely wouldn't make up my top 5 list.
So who's your favorite character in the Defenders?
Wow,
Sorry, I didn't mean to go too hard on you.
No. So not Iron Fist because he's not quite where he was better, but not quite at that point. Luke Cage I like, but I think those two characters on their own, they take a back seat to Daredevil. Because I feel like Daredevil, for me, is my favorite character just because his character is so complicated.
Yeah.
And there's so much depth to the character, and there's so much, and based on the end of the last episode, a lot of story left to be told.
Right.
So much for Born Again, which after they said the woman's name, I threw my controller across the room. I couldn't handle it. I couldn't believe they were going to do that. And so with Daredevil, there's so much opportunity for him to kind of be the centerpiece for this team. Whether he was interacting with Elektra, previously in his own series with Punisher, he just was able to convey so much emotion. And really, when bad things happen to Matt Murdock, I feel bad. When Iron Fist gets hit, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, whatever.
Luke Cage gets shot, he'll be fine.
Yeah.
And Jessica Jones, she's a tough cookie anyways. But when it comes to Matt Murdock, I almost think he's almost the most relatable person on that team. Despite his powers, I feel like he's more of the everyday man, so to speak, and I think that relating to him is just an easier step. So I guess for me, that's why he's my favorite. Who is yours?
Yeah, totally Daredevil. Totally Daredevil. He's out of the whole Netflix series, he's more developed as a character, like you mentioned. There's more backstory to him. And he is your normal, average, everyday guy, but with superpowers. So
Right.
and to me, he's the badass of the whole show, in my opinion. Daredevil is really cool. I really love his costume and the way how he fights. Netflix and Marvel do a great job. Okay, and I said it during while watching the show. I said, this is exactly what it looks like if you take a comic book and you make a TV show out of it.
100%.
It's so authentic. They do such a fantastic job. All his acrobat stunts that he does, that comes straight off the page of a Daredevil comic.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you, especially when it comes to a lot of the Frank Miller stuff. Even the setting of New York with how dark and how dreary everything is. I mean, that's like Frank Miller style 101 for how dark and dreary everything is. So it all fits together so well, I guess, for me. But I love the series in so many ways, but let me ask you a question.
Oh, okay.
If you could change one thing about it, what would it be? The Defenders.
If I could change one thing about it, well, I think I would have to change Iron Fist's character. As you said, I would like to see more of the comic book Iron Fist. You know what I mean? And you know what? He's Iron Fist, and I know a lot of people complained about the show. His name's Iron Fist, and he didn't use his Iron Fist as much. And you know what? I would have to say the same thing about the Defenders. I didn't see him use his Iron Fist as much, and I would like to see more of it. The actor, you know, at some points when tensions gets high, you know, he does seem to be standoffish, angry, and you know, I wish I could have seen a little more of that when it came with the fights. You know what I mean? And like I said, I wish I saw more of that Iron Fist and him using that more. I know it's powerful, but you know, he definitely could have used it more. And that's my only thing, really. There's not really anything I would want to change about this show other besides that and the fight choreography to be a little more on point. But it's still really good. It's an awesome show. I really suggest you watch it if you haven't. And that's what I gotta say about that.
Cool. Nice. Good answer.
Good answer. See, I do have good answers. See. So, Mike, as in Superpower review, okay, when we review something, I like to use the CGC grades to review something. So, if you were to give the Defenders a CGC grade, what would you give it?
Wow, that is a great question. Oh man, I would give it an 8.3.
An 8.3.
8.3, because I think there's some flaws. There's a few imperfections here and there, but overall, it's in. See if I can spin this metaphor. It's in good condition. You know, it's not exactly mint, but I think there's so much potential there that the three characters, Daredevil and Luke Cage and Jessica Jones, really kind of carried the show. So if they can figure out how to make Iron Fist as good as those three,
yeah,
I'll probably go towards.
You would bump it. You would totally bump it. Well, yeah. In CGC grade, it goes 8.0 and 8.5. So would you go with the 8.0 or with the 8.5?
8.0.
8.0. I would totally give the Defenders an 8.5. I really feel like it deserves it. It's really good. It's not there where it's at a 9. But, you know, you really have to appreciate what you're getting out of Netflix, okay? It's a really good series. Marvel's doing a great job with the show and with their Netflix series with those characters. And, you know, it's a really good, entertaining watch. And you know what? For my wife not to like comic book stuff and to actually watch this show and really like it and get a little addicted to it, that's also really good as well. So you don't have to be a comic book nerd or a comic book geek in order to watch this show. It's entertaining for everybody. You know, you just can watch it, have fun on a Sunday. You have nothing to do, watch the Defenders. I guarantee it's going to be a good watch for you and you'll really enjoy it.
Watch it twice.
Watch it twice. I know I am. I know I am. Mike, I want to thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you.
I hope to have you back on sometime.
Absolutely.
If you ever see,
fantastic. Got a lot of fun today. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. You were a great guest. If you ever see that Superpower review logo up on Instagram, you know to comment on it and grab it right away. So thank you so much. That's going to conclude our show. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Kevin.
And that's going to wrap up today's show. I hope you really liked this review. And if you like this video, be sure to give it a like. And if you want to see more from this channel, please subscribe to the channel and you'll get notifications when a new video will be up. If you'd like to be a potential guest, like my friend Mike here, you can email the show at superpowerreview9@gmail.com. That's going to do it for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you real soon.